Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. A few weeks ago I took delivery of a Ford Focus. So if you guys are kind of noticing a pattern, last few cars that I've posted about weren't the greatest. And unfortunately this one is no exception. But again, I feel like it was a slight setup. So dealer auctions, they have multiple lanes where vehicles run through. So like lane 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then usually lane 97, lane 98 has the in-op vehicles, meaning they are inoperable. They don't run and drive. They have damage, wrecked cars, trailers, something of that sort, like boats, cars or vehicles, equipment that you can't test and say, yes, it runs and drives. So I bought this Ford Focus in lane 1 and I bid on it because the price was really good. I think my winning bid was like $600, something like that. And I was like, man, $2,000, easy money. You know, it's not the lowest class. It has steel wheels, not the hubcap stuff. It looks good, black. $500-600 plus fees, you know, shipping, whatever. Not expensive. So I bid on it. I ended up winning it. And then I found out that it doesn't run and drive. And I was like, what the heck? So here we are. And been thinking about it. What am I gonna do with it? Don't know how to approach it. But I've been doing some research and then I remembered my silver Ford Focus. The one that was sold as a run and drive, but it wasn't a run and drive when I went to pick it up. And pretty much this Ford Focus symptoms are literally the same. So in this video, we are going to try to duplicate what the mechanic or locksmith did for my silver Ford Focus and got it running. But this time, I'm gonna be doing it myself. From the research I've done, these Ford Focuses are very notorious for this issue. And you know, I've had so many of them, but all it takes is one to go, they do have this issue. So it's parked right there. I'm gonna go down, start pulling things apart, and hopefully figure out why it doesn't start and see if we could actually get it to crank over, because right now it doesn't crank, it doesn't start. So here's what it looks like. Got a busted taillight. These are the nice wheels. Has some scuffs. So, see that? No crank, no start. They tried to jump it, as did I, with no luck. It has like 157,000 miles. But once I do connect the jump box to it, everything lights up, everything more or less becomes alive, has a slight odor in here. The really good news is they put a brand new engine mount, which these cars are really known for engine mounts going out. The other thing is the door handle from the outside does not work. So I have to awkwardly do this every time to open the darn thing, the darn car. So we're gonna swing it, there we go. I am now going to show you the no start condition type of deal, no crank, no start. But there's two possible options. But mainly we have to take all of this apart and that will expose the section that we need to be working in. So I'm gonna get started on that. I am using a 732's socket to get 3 bolts out. 1, 2, and then there's one here that I have yet to take out. Once those 3 bolts are out with a flathead screwdriver, just gently separate it. And now we could play around with it until we get it disconnected and removed. There we go. So the main part we're looking at is this piece right here, and in order to remove it, there's a spot right there. You push down and then gently pull back, and then same thing from right here. See, the sun's already starting to come out, and then it basically just slides out like this. So yeah, see how that's pretty worn? So when you turn the key, oh yeah, this is going to be our issue. See how much play that has? So my assumption is when you turn the key, it doesn't turn all the way in here and it doesn't start the car. So thankfully this part isn't very difficult to replace, maybe $100, genuine Ford part. There's a trick. Battery on this Focus is completely dead, so I put a jump box on it. You guys see that? Ah, there's a immobilizer light too. That's not a good sign. I got the key in all the way on position, and as soon as I put my screwdriver in there, that happens. So let me position it somehow, or maybe I could leave the camera on like that. Let me turn that off. So I have a really terrible flathead screwdriver here. So something tells me, guys, I have two issues. One is here, and the other one in here, because I'm spinning that and I see it's pretty much like chiseled all the way through. I don't know what you think of that. So it cranks, but it doesn't start, and I have fuel. So now I'm curious if someone was in here before, but they were screwing around with the relays and fuses and messed something up, because clearly this is the issue. It cranks now, but it doesn't start. And from trying to start it, I smell fuel now. So you need air, fuel, spark. I have fuel, because I can definitely smell it. Next, what? Spark? I was really banking on this being it. Which, at least I guess I got it figured out to where it cranks. Now I'm kind of stumped. I kind of got an idea. So, remember when I did that? So this is a very small screwdriver, and putting it in here like that, like I can't turn it well enough. So I was kind of turning it sideways, and I got it to crank, but no start. So then I was thinking, maybe I'm not engaging the little thing for the beeping. Maybe that's why it's not working. So, unfortunately, I must have taken my nice screwdriver home or something of that sort, so I don't have a nice screwdriver, but we're gonna try it with a key. So I'm gonna put you guys up here again, and hopefully it works. And it did not. So, I think next step for me is to start reading about, I mean, it cranks, that's the thing, and I smell fuel. So next logical thing is spark. Do I want to start pulling apart the spark plugs and whatnot? Could be timing issue. Is it worth it? Me poking around, spending hour, 2 hours to get it fixed up. I'm gonna think some more. In theory, everything here should be super easy. Curious why that's kind of off. But here we have our 4 fuel injectors, and I smelled them. I don't smell any fuel coming from them, but I did smell it from inside the cabin. So, I mean, could it be spark plugs? Are there even spark plugs in there? What could it be? What could it be? My father should be here any minute now for other stuff. But maybe I'll wait for him. 2 heads are smarter than one. See what he'll tell me. Maybe he has an idea that I haven't tried yet. Wait a second. I might be onto something, guys. Look. This, I saw this was a little funky looking, so I kind of pulled it and it came apart. So this almost, that's a ground wire. And that was connected to here. Am I onto something? Could this be our issue? If we put that in there, and then let me go strip this and try to put it in there, because clearly there's not much going on here. Wow, would be crazy if that's the issue. I have absolutely no idea if this is gonna work or not, but I got these in as far as I can. Let's give it another try. Even if this doesn't work, something tells me that that might be our issue. Yeah, we're just gonna wait for everything to turn off, computer do its thing. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And I just jumped out and I smell fuel. Still, something tells me that that might be our issue though. And I know parts like this are not very expensive, so it might be actually worth it, because I mean, look at that. It's just, it's fully disconnected. Yeah, I mean, it might make sense since they replaced the engine mount, maybe pulling it out or something, damage this. 157k miles, I mean, this wiring looks wrecked. So I would not be surprised, along with those two issues, this could be our third issue. I mean, logically, this just doesn't make sense. And this is connected to ignition. I'm gonna take this apart, see if I could find a new part. Went upstairs to basically find this part, and it's a radio frequency something from the research I've done. It basically makes sure that the engine noise does not interfere with radio wave noise, so you don't have any weird sounds. Thought I was onto something. Honestly, I think next step would be to start looking at fuses and relays, because I did read that if that frequency transmitter thing kind of goes out, especially wires sticking out like that, it could short something out and blow a fuse, which could have happened in our situation.
Several days later.
After doing more extensive research, I found out that this right here definitely could be my issue, because it is a ground and it could short and blow a fuse. So I brought some extra fuses. Now I'm gonna go through the whole fuse box and see if I find any blown ones. Guys, I got my first one. Let's see if we could zoom in on that. There it is. See that? And this fuse came out of right there. So I'm gonna put a new one in and continue looking. That was the only blown fuse that I found. I don't know what it does, I didn't look at it. But I have a new part on the way, so I'm not gonna try to start the car right now. We'll return in a few days with the new fuse, with the new part, put everything back together, and then try to start it again.
Several days later.
To my surprise, the new focus part came in a lot sooner than I thought it would, so here we go. We get to put it back together and hopefully it will start and run. So I'm gonna prep everything, get the jump box on, get my tools. We're gonna install this little piece. We're gonna crank it. Got my 8mm here so we could take off the ground. And the new part is an OEM Ford part, so it's not aftermarket, it's an official Ford part. So if this is gonna work, this is gonna be the best part to use. If I remember correctly, this is vaguely what it looked like. And we could start tightening this stuff down. Got those two tightened down. Now we just have to connect this one. There we go. All right, guys, let's throw the jump box on the battery and give it a try. Well, guys, I have no idea what to expect, but hopefully this does the trick. Oh, it just tried. So it tried. It almost turned over. It's a lot better than just the flat what we had before, where it was just cranking and nothing. It almost like sputtered and wanted to, but it didn't grab. So I'm gonna try it again and see if it works. See, it's trying real hard, but no luck. It's trying. So we're definitely a lot further than where we were when we started this. I mean, it could be having a hard time starting because it's been so long since it has been started. I don't know. I checked the fluids. It has oil. It has everything. Like, it's trying. So I'm gonna keep trying, and hopefully we get this thing to start. Oh. It was that split second. It started, it ran for a little bit, and then it died within like a second or two. So this was probably the issue, but because the car hasn't been started and ran for who knows how long, is why we're probably having a hard time getting it to run. We're not gonna give up just yet. Look at that. We are running, guys. We are running. Okay, I'm gonna jump out. Let's see, any weird smoke or anything? I don't know if that's just cold morning or blue. I don't really see a hint of blue. But she's running! I am so glad I took the little risk with this darn radio frequency sensor, whatever it's called. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? It blows the fuse and the car doesn't start. So if you have a crank but no start condition, this is your issue. But I feel like in this video we covered quite a bit. You know, I still have my steering wheel, the whole column is taken apart, but we got the engine to start, and look at it, it's running. It is definitely running on its own. So now my next thought is, do I want to take it down the street, make sure it shifts good and make sure it runs good before I buy the new master cylinder and then the ignition switch, which both of them are around 150 bucks, or just buy them and install them and just get it done. So happy it started. You guys have no idea. On a side note, I will definitely need to do an oil change on this car because although it has oil, even on the dipstick, I see that it's pretty darn low. So that's another thing gotta add to the list. Fresh oil change and then possibly a new battery. Who knows how long it's been sitting, if this battery is even good. So definitely still some things that need to be addressed, including a detail. But it runs, guys, it runs. Now let's see how well the alternator does. Grab that, disconnect that. So it's still running. The alternator is doing its job. And I just remembered another thing. This door handle either came off somewhere. Excuse me, garbage truck. Either came off or maybe something kind of snapped on the inside, so it doesn't open from the outside. So that's another thing I'll have to address. No check engine light. that was a joke because the battery was totally dead, and I'm sure if it has any engine codes, they were probably cleared on their own. So I decided I'm gonna drive it just down the block, see how well it runs before we continue with all the other stuff that it needs. And I didn't bother putting plates on it or anything, just because we're not gonna go far. Oh yeah, it seems like this thing is running perfectly fine. I'm doing 30, I went through 3 or 4 gears. We're braking. No weird sounds, no weird noises. There we go, 2,000 RPM, 2.5 is switched. It's great. So now I can move forward with repairing it fully. So now I have to make a list of things that I need to replace on it and or repair, and kind of go from there. Vents give me heat, radio works, AC blows cool, not super cold. It might need a recharge, but it does work. I almost want to kill it and see if it'll start on its own, but something almost tells me that 10 minutes of running this motor isn't really, it's not going to do much for me. What do you guys think? Does it have an aftermarket muffler? Oddly kind of sounds like a Mini Cooper that I had. It's a Focus. Anyways, for this, we're gonna end it right here, and we're gonna resume once I have the other parts.
Several days later.
It is a dry but super cold morning here in the Portland area. I got all the parts to resume fixing the Ford Focus, so hopefully today this thing will be running on its own. I just placed an order for a new battery, so the first thing is going to be to take out this old battery, and then once the new battery gets here, we'll replace that, and then actually start working on the ignition switch and everything kind of related in that area. Here is the new part. I didn't record the battery because, well, battery is super simple, and I think this video is going to be long either way. So it's just a little clip here that we're going to push down on and then disconnect it and put this new piece in. New one is in. Now I started on this edge, and the goal with this one is put a screwdriver here and hit it with a hammer so we could get this bolt right here out. After a few small rotations with the screwdriver, I'm able to do the rest by hand. It's not a very long bolt. Just this little guy right here. So we could set that aside. Have a 732's little bolt right here. Here's our old part. So there's actually a few of these screws. There's one here, one up top, and one at the bottom right here. This one was the most difficult to get out because it literally pushes up right here, so you don't have a lot of space to get it out. But once you do, you slide it back from underneath this housing, so towards the cluster here, and then open it up like so, and then just gently maneuver it out of the way. So now we need to keep the same key lock cylinder. Now we'll have to just gently pry these back so we could remove this cover, and then I think there should be a bolt somewhere in here to take it out. Got the key cylinder out. The way you do that is just turn the key, and then with a really small screwdriver push the pin in. And I'm sorry guys, I don't know why I'm not getting focus here. There we go. So push that in with the screwdriver and then pull out. I struggled with it, but play around with it, it will come out. Now I'm looking at putting this back together, and I realized that I already have this part. I didn't realize it came as a full assembly, so I disconnected the new one. I'm just going to return it because I technically didn't need it or used it. And this whole assembly actually came from Ford and was $100, which honestly isn't that bad. So now we're just working backwards to reassemble everything and put it back together. New battery is installed. I got more or less everything kind of connected. The back end, the only thing is the plastic pieces and one more bolt. So let's try it now. There we go. There we go. So it's running. Now I could put these covers on, but before the covers we need to install this bolt and break it loose. Now back here we have an 8mm. This is like a security bolt. So what you have to do is put it in and then literally tighten it until it snaps. And there we go. And now it leaves us with literally the same thing we had previously. Whole assembly is done. Focus is running. Sounds pretty good. I heard the belt a little bit over here, so we'll see if it'll need a new belt. But it has a new engine mount, new radio frequency thing, a new fuse, a new battery, a new ignition switch, a new master lock cylinder, whatever it's called. This door is still an issue, but it seems like either it broke on the inside or something. But you know, it works that way, so I'll need to fix that. I'll need to get a little badge right here. I'll need to do an oil change. This is the noise I was talking about. So I'll have to look into that, see what it is. I mean, it could be that the car's been sitting for who knows how long, and the belt is just not used to being a belt. So yeah, that's kind of the story with it. I'm gonna take it home, drive it, see how well it runs, and continue working on it. As for this video, this is gonna be it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you found this video very helpful, because who would have thought? Blown fuse, I mean, the other issues too, but you know, if you replaced all of that and your Focus still doesn't start, check the fuses, check the radio frequency thing, and hopefully it helped you somehow. If not, at the very least, I hope it was entertaining. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in another video.